All right, so we are doing our Cornell notes through this video today because you might have taken all block to finish up your test, and that's fine. Just make sure you do really focus and pay attention. We are jumping right into grammar practice and vocabulary tomorrow. All right, so our grammar concept this week is simple sentences, and previously we've talked about parts of speech like pronouns, nouns, and verbs. And now we're looking at those parts of speech and trying to figure out what out of those make up a sentence. So your essential question, please pause the video and write your essential question down if you need to on your Cornell notes. What parts of speech make up a sentence? What is the command? All right, so a simple sentence is known as an independent clause. An independent clause is independent because it is basically a complete thought on its own. In order for it to be a complete thought, it needs to have some parts of speech. It needs to have words. So the words that are often used are going to be subjects and predicates. All right, those are just fancy terms for saying that you need to have a noun and you need to have a verb. You need to have an action, and you need to have something or someone doing that action. That's what makes up a sentence. All right, so let's take a look at this example sentence. This sentence is, the bell rings. All right, it is a very simple sentence. All it has is a subject and a verb. It has a subject and a predicate. So we are going to mark it up, and to mark it up, that basically means that we are going to be circling and underlining stuff. All right, so the first thing you want to do is, after reading the sentence, is to figure out what the action is, and that is going to be your verb. The action in the sentence is rings. All right, that is the verb in the sentence. And then we look and we are trying to figure out the subject. The subject is the person or the thing that is doing the action, so we're trying to figure out what rings. Well, it's going to be the bell. You can either circle bell or you can circle the bell. At this point, it doesn't really matter. All right, so let's move on a little bit, and I want you to try this on your own. You are going to do your own sentence. In your notes, you should see a sentence that says, the wolf howls, and if you see that sentence, I want you to mark it up on your own. So you should see the sentence, the wolf howls. You are underlining the verb, and then you're circling the subject. I'll give you a few seconds to figure that out. You can pause the video if you need more time. All right, so looking at the sentence, you should see that you should have underlined the word howls, because that is the verb, that's the action. And then when you ask yourself who is doing the action or what is doing the action, it's going to be the wolf. That's your subject. All right, moving on to the next slide. A command can still be a sentence. So you're writing down command where you see that blank. And a command is basically when you're ordering someone to do something. So when you're ordering someone to do something, then the pronoun is going to be you. It's going to be whoever you are talking to, whoever you want to do that action. So let's take a look at this example, drive the car. So how we would annotate this is that we look at the sentence, and of course the first thing you do is read the sentence, and then the next thing that you do is to find the action. Drive the car. What's the action? The action is drive. All right? But you don't want to circle the car as the subject. You have to think about this rationally. You have to ask yourself the question, who is driving the car? Well, it's whoever you're talking to. It's the person you're commanding. So what you do is when you're marking up this type of sentence, this kind of command, you're going to write in front of it, you, and it's okay for you to do that on your notes, just right in front of it. And then you circle that as your subject, you. All right, moving on, we're going to take a look at how you can determine what conjugation to use, how you should conjugate your verb. All right, In a sentence, a verb is usually conjugated based on the subject's person and number and based on when the action happened. So we talked about when the action happened last time. That has to do with the tense, right? The past tense, perfect tense, progressive tense, all of that. But you also need to change that verb based on looking at that noun that's doing the action and see what person it is and how many there are. All right. By person, I mean that there's first person. First person is I or we. Second person is you. And third person is basically everything else. All right. So we're looking at the sentence, Jeff was a bad student. We wouldn't say Jeff am a bad student because it's not in first person. It's in third person. And right now we're seeing that it's in past tense. So we know that it is something that happened in the past. Maybe Jeff is no longer a bad student. All right, we're going to mark the sentence up together as well. Jeff was a bad student. What you should be seeing here is you're finding a verb, and this is something that a lot of you got wrong in the previous quiz. All right, remember all of the to be verbs are verbs. Am, is, are, was, were, being, been, be. All of those are verbs. So the first thing you do when you look at the sentence is, are there any to be verbs? Yes, there is. So that's going to be the verb in the sentence, was. All right, I'm not sure why you guys didn't do that on your quiz. All right, then you're gonna ask yourself, okay, who was a bad student to find the subject? And it's Jeff. Jeff was a bad student. I'm gonna annotate that on your own Cornell notes, please. All right, we're gonna end with a quick check. So looking at this, run. That's the sentence. It is a sentence. It is a complete sentence. I need you to underline the verb, and then I need you to circle the subject. I'm going to give you a few seconds to do that. Think about it. Pause the video if you need a little bit more time to think. All right. So, if you did it correctly, you should have underlined the word run because it's the action in the sentence. And then in front of it, you should have written you because it is a command. All right, you, and then circle the you because it is your subject. All right, that is the end of your Cornell notes. I will tell you later how you want to split this up, but basically to get how many questions you should have, you're splitting between the wolf howls and a command can still be a sentence, and then you're splitting between drive the car and in a sentence the verb is usually conjugated. All right, so you're looking around giving me 3 questions. All right. For the summary, you're looking back at your essential question, which is what parts of speech make up a sentence and what is a command? Well, it's literally in your notes, all right? What does a simple sentence must have? What do they need? All right, take a look at that part of your notes. And then a command, don't forget that a command, it can still be a sentence, but a command is basically an order. It's telling someone to do something. All right, that's it for your grammar notes.